And welcome back. Yeah, that's right. You're here for another exciting episode of Turn the Page. We're here to tell you all about the things that you didn't even think you needed to know. But once you've learned them, you're still not quite sure. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, and as always, tell your grandmother about us. Share with her. She can share with her entire community of friends that she's either made at church or by going on her Sunday morning walks.
No, my grandma's in a home.
Well, that's some different information than we've gotten about your grandmother before, John. But that's okay. I'm Tony Stevens. I'm your star power. And as you clearly see, I have my sex appeal John McClay back. That's right, the ghost man McClay himself. And we also have the adorable sidekick, Ronnie Shanks. Everybody say hi, smile, and wave at the camera.
Hi.
Hello.
Cool.
Actually, my grandmother's not in a home. She's dead.
Hey, we have that in common.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ronnie.
I mean, people die.
People die. It's a thing that happens to people specifically.
It's not always a bad thing. Like, honestly, once I get to a certain age, I might be relieved to be done.
Yeah, you know what's tragic is when people die too young. And you can imagine a whole life they would have had. That's what's sad.
Well, speaking of which, actually, some really bitter news that we got over the past week. We did have somebody that died too young, in my opinion, and that would be the Black Panther himself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Who has been passed away, 43 years old after a battle with cancer. Actually, some pretty impressive things were released about him, to include the fact that he was actually undergoing treatments in between filming. So that's actually pretty impressive that he was able to do what he did.
It's physically impressive, mentally impressive. Something I didn't know that I learned recently was that Marvel Studios did not know he had cancer until like a few days before he died.
That's
crazy.
That's something. That's got to be a heck of
He kept that secret for a long time. And like, just, and I remember back, this is towards the beginning of the year, I guess, several months ago, people were worried about him because they noticed that he had lost weight. Some people were like not very kind about that weight loss.
Well,
now
that's
we know
called,
why.
popular media. We all have to share our opinions.
Yeah. Kindness is a thing that I think that people should.
I wonder how they feel now.
They probably feel the same. Honestly, when you have trolls, they're going to be trolls. Trolls are going to be trolls. Haters are going to hate. There's not much else you can do about life. People are there to do whatever they're going to do. But that's not what we're here to do. We're here to talk to you about some news. It's probably a little bit less depressing news now. I'm going to bring it up a notch. Ronnie, go ahead and tell us some good news coming from the game front.
Good news from the game front. All right. But first, a little bit more of the sad news.
Oh, no. We're done with sad news, Ronnie.
Yeah, it was over.
Like, we've had enough sad news this year. Like, it just keeps coming. We need to stop that train.
Yeah, we have to tell 2020 to.
As long as you can promise it's the last bit of sad news.
It is the last bit of sad news. This is actually someone I really just kind of wanted to give a send off to, because like he's really a big part of my childhood. Not just from X-Men the animated series, but but like he voiced Cyclops on X-Men animated series, and he just passed away recently.
Mm-hmm.
That hit me hard because not only did he voice them there, but he also voiced them in the Marvel versus series of games, X-Men versus Street Fighter, X-Men Children of the Atom, like all of them, all the way up to Marvel versus Capcom 2. And it's just, man, he bit tragic. But I mean, his work was phenomenal, and he will always be the voice of Cyclops for me. I actually used to try and imitate his, or not imitate.
Emanate is the new word. It's cool. Roll with it.
Emulate?
Emulate, yeah.
Emulate, yes. Try to emulate his voice. almost as much as Kevin Conroy's Batman when I was a kid. And it's just
It's one of those iconic voices.
yeah. He
I
was
can
the
see
reason why I like Cyclops so much.
See, I don't even know who did the voice acting or announcing for the old Shadow serial series that came on the radio. That's the voice that I wanted to hit.
Mm.
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men? The Shadow knows.
Oh yeah, but Norm Spencer will definitely be missed.
Well, that's a good send-off to him. I think there are plenty of people that may not have known how in love with him they were, but they will realize it soon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if they ever do another
And-
X-Men animated, like it's like that doesn't sound like Cyclops. Who is that
You're like,
guy?
wait a second, this isn't right. This is like watching James Marsden or that other guy play Cyclops in the movie.
Or anyone
Yeah,
who plays Batman animation-wise, that's not Kevin Conroy, I
Has to
get a
be.
weird feeling about it. You know,
It is strange. There was that one Batman animated movie, the Red Hood one that they came out with, and that was one of the Baldwins, I think, was
like
Batman's voice.
Billy Baldwin.
No,
It couldn't have been Alec.
No, it wasn't Alec.
It might have been Steven.
Stephen Baldwin. He does stuff.
Might have
He
been
was in,
Steven or Billy. I don't know. Either way, the point was just a little strange. But you said you had some good news for us on the game front there.
Hmm.
Oh no, it was Under the Red Hood was Bruce Greenwood.
Fair enough.
I don't know him. Sorry, Bruce, was it?
Bruce Greenwood.
Sorry, Bruce.
Wood.
One
No, he was
Bruce.
Captain Christopher Pike in
I mean, his
the
name is
live action
Bruce.
Star Trek movies.
Oh, was he? Is that him? Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
Turn
his
the
name
page.
is Bruce. Yeah, turn the page. Turn the
The
page.
page.
Let's talk about video games, Ronnie.
Yes. Speaking of video games, the Avengers just released.
Yeah, full platform, right?
All platforms. It's on PC, Xbox One, and PS4. Sorry, Switch. But yeah, it's awesome. You guys should definitely check it out.
And you just said, you told me a little bit earlier this week that they were releasing an actual collector's edition version of this, right?
Yes, they released
Tell
it.
us some of the stuff that comes with that.
So the collector's edition comes with a Hulk bobblehead. Comes with the blueprints for Iron Man's armor.
So you can build it then for real.
Well,
You got
that's
the
what I'm working on.
blueprints.
I've actually got the arc reactor blueprint for myself. So,
All right, get on it.
power.
Unlimited power.
Yeah. I'm actually going to get to work on installing it in my chest. Maybe if I get it done, I'll show you.
Yeah.
But it also comes with a Miss Marvel pin. It comes with a photo of the Avengers Day with Miss Marvel with all the other Avengers. Well, before she was with the Avengers. It's just
But Miss Marvel, you're actually talking about like the Camilla,
But yeah.
not,
Also,
not Carol Danvers. We're talking like Camilla Khan.
yeah, I'm talking about Kamala. Wait, that is her name, right? Kamala?
Kamala Khan. Camilla Khan.
Yeah, Kamala Khan. Okay. I keep wanting to call her Kamala Harris.
Khan! Sorry, cutting that out.
But no, yeah, it comes with all that fun stuff and a collectible steel book, and again the Captain America statue, and also
Yeah, that was a pretty big deal. I saw that image you sent to me earlier. We'll get Dan to edit that into the video so everybody can see it, but it's a pretty impressive statue.
oh yeah, and it's like that's really cool. The whole bobblehead's awesome, and the Thor keychain is really cool too.
Now, how
Which
much
is
is
the
this?
Mjolnir hand, correct?
How much does this cost? Is it like ridiculous or is it reasonable?
Define ridiculous, John. More than $9?
Yeah.
Did you pay
$200. And how much does the regular game cost? 60?
60.
Okay, so like you get a Hulk bobblehead, which is cool. You get the plant. That's it. The plans to the Iron Man suit. That's worth billions. So like it's a good investment.
It also had a belt buckle for the Black Widow, right?
Yes, Black Widow belt buckle.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Is it actual like leather? It better be for $200.
No, it's a metal belt buckle that you can put on.
Oh, it's a belt buckle. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of cool.
That's
And
nifty. I've
what
I've
else?
paid some money for a belt buckle before.
I don't know. I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm a thrifty person, so like, you know, I probably am not the best one to make that kind of judgment.
Now, with all $200, are you actually getting some additional content for the video game?
Yeah, you get some skins,
Some
which escaped
skin.
my mind. But
And it's exclusive to that. It's not like going to come
yes,
out later as a DLC or anything.
right. It's exclusive to the collector's edition.
Okay, well that is cool. That is
It'll
cool.
I mean,
probably.
that's good content. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
the statue itself would probably run about that much anyway once it releases.
Yeah, it's but no, what they usually do with the skins for like the collector's editions and stuff like that, like maybe like a year or two later, they'll allow it to be like paid DLC or something.
Is there a limited run of these? Like
Yes, very
only so
limited
many
amount of
available?
these. As with all collector's editions of games, there's a limited run of them, and once they're out, or once they run out, they run out.
But do you know how many there are?
No.
Okay, I will look that up, or Danny will look it up, and he'll put it like somewhere, maybe down there. Maybe I don't know where I'm oriented, but he's gonna put it somewhere.
I think you're still on top, John.
Or he might he might not find that, and this is all for nothing, and we don't know. But,
Well, regardless,
personally, yeah.
it's a really fun game. It released, and you guys should definitely check it out, play it. And man, Thor is fun. Hulk is definitely fun. All the characters are fun in their own way. Even Miss Marvel, I actually had fun playing as her, which was shocking to me.
I saw some beta stuff of it, and it looked really good, like enjoyable.
It looks clean. I'll give them that. And
I saw.
I'm going to be really excited when I find out if they're going to release some more characters as well.
I hope they do.
Spider-Man's coming next year for PS4.
You know what? Like, okay, playing Spider-Man alone in a Spider-Man game, I love it. I rock some Spider-Man. Love playing Spider-Man if he's the only guy to choose from in the game. But if I've got other choices,
like Iron Man.
well,
Thor.
even Iron Man, I probably wouldn't play that much. A lot of Thor, smashing with Thor. Probably get some rage going with the Hulk. But like I said before in the last episode, I'd really like to see them throw in some other characters, maybe Wolverine or something like that. That'd be a lot of fun. But again, we have talked about that before on the previous episode, so go ahead and check that out if you haven't yet. In additional news, movie theaters have been opening back up. We ourselves actually went out and attended an actual movie just recently. We went and saw The New Mutants. You can also check out our review of that on the Saturday Night Gaming podcast channel, which has the Let's Discuss topics, which is our views and reviews of the movies that we go see as a group. And that one was actually pretty split down the board. I actually took the position of the person who was a little bit happier to have seen it. And then some of the other guys, I didn't expect it, but they really didn't like it. So it's a hit or miss. But it's great that movies are opened up again, don't you think?
Yes, absolutely.
I actually did not go with you guys. I ended up watching Bill and Ted Face the Music. It's available. It's a Bill and Ted movie. So take that for what it's worth.
Grain of salt.
It is 100% a Bill and Ted movie. So it's of like literally the same caliber as Excellent Adventure and Bogus Journey, I think. It doesn't try and, huh?
So it's amazing.
If you think those movies are amazing, then you will think this movie is amazing. It is a Bill and Ted movie through and through. It doesn't try and like be something that it's not. You know, it doesn't take like some silly movie from, you know, the late 80s, early 90s, and then try and turn it into some modern masterpiece. It's a Bill and Ted movie. So it knows what it is, and it's all the same people.
What about the daughters? Did you like the females?
I did. There's a couple of movies. I didn't know either of the actresses before watching this, but I looked them up afterwards.
Uh-huh.
And they have, you know, presence in other stuff. I thought they did great.
Like Cannes Film Festival stuff or American blockbuster stuff?
Neither. Bill and Ted does not fit neatly into those boxes. I give it 2 thumbs up because I really enjoy the positivity that Bill and Ted emote. And I think that this world, especially now, needs a lot more of that kind of personality and that outlook towards life. Like no matter what happens to them, you know, they face it without complaining too much. Yeah, and they're very forgiving individuals, and like their whole way of life is like impressive to me in a way. And they're not that brightest of individuals, but I don't know. It's just the way they look at life. I think that is something that we could all learn from.
Well, that's cool.
But,
I'm glad you got to see that. I actually want to go see that myself.
I have it. I bought it on the streaming service on Amazon. So if you ever want to watch it, you come over here, you know, throw it up on the big screen. But that is something of interesting, like, because Disney's Mulan is also releasing, but it's exclusively releasing on Disney.
Right.
And it's not even if you have Disney Plus, you have to have first Disney Plus, and then you have to second purchase it.
Right.
What do you guys think of that model? Like Bill and Ted, if it come out in theaters, I don't know how well it would have done. I think that it was a good choice for them. And certainly
Digital release is a hot topic, though.
Yeah.
It's okay. So on the one hand, if I purchase it, I have it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I could have rented it, but like the price difference between renting it and purchasing it was like $4. So I went ahead and just
the thing that I would get down to is hey, everybody, let's have movie nights. Let's all chip in the same way that people do when you want to watch the fights. Or a sports game.
Yeah.
If I want to see Conor McGregor kick the crap out of somebody, well, we're all going to chip in together. Now, of course, whoever's house you're at for pay-per-view, that sort of thing, you just chipped in for that person to be able to purchase it. So now this is a little different because then if everybody chips in, well, that person owns it on their digital presence. So
we could have rented it as well. Like, so the rental price was like 19 something and to buy it was 24. So because I'm just watching it on my own, I just, you know, I kind of like to show this to someone later. I might want to watch it myself again. So I just opted to purchase it.
That makes sense. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of strange. It's a catch that they get you with. There's only one person I've really ever known that just walks into a store and says, I'm going to buy all of these DVDs without ever having seen these movies.
Is it me? Because I do that, or I used to back in the day of DVDs.
It's actually Dan
yeah.
department.
There was a time when I couldn't do it. Yeah.
From the B studio department than you've ever seen in your life.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I understand. It's an addiction.
You should see some of the stuff that he has in his DVD collection. But it's because he just likes to go to the little cheaper price bin. He picks up whatever looks interesting to him. He buys it. He goes home and watches it.
Oh, man.
Or doesn't.
At least he gets like discounted DVDs. Because back in the day, you know, this maybe 15 years ago, I was getting DVDs. I had about 1,000. And I would say about at least 80% of them I bought at full price. Like, so you're talking like $20 a pop. At one point I had calculated I had spent at least 10 grand on just DVDs. You know, it was ridiculous.
Well, if you think about it, this is what was really crazy because now we're moving into a new phase of things. So when I was younger, in my first marriage, the two of us together had a couple hundred VHS tapes that we had bought over time. Mm-hmm. So all of these movies on VHS. And then, oh, hey, by the way, we're not going to really make the VCR anymore. Maybe we'll have a blue or a DVD/VCR for a little bit. And then we're going to just phase you right away from that. We're not even going to give you the VCR anymore. So then it's like, well, if we want to have a collection, we've got to repurchase all of these movies on DVD. And then we do that. And then, well, guess what now? It's probably just more price efficient for you and easier for you to see wherever you want to see it if you just go ahead and get the digital copies of these. And it's like, hang on a second, man. I have bought this movie
Yeah.
3 times in my life, at least 3 times in my life. Some of it feels like a sham to me. Like if I can prove that I have the VHS, you should just give me the digital copy for even having a VHS.
Like of the same quality, you know, and they have started doing that with Blu-rays, you know, where you get your digital download and you
Right.
can have that. But like, you know, with like say like going from DVD to Blu-ray, there's actually a quality boost that you're paying for. So like, you know, DVD players are still around. You can always rip those, although they did kind of fight that.
Quality boost. I mean, there's a quality boost in each of these things, but at the end of the day, you know, especially with like my wife and I were debating this. We were getting TV, and she brought up the whole 4K gold, whatever, and I said, not even if you pay me. I still need to see some granules on this thing. I need to see it because it makes it more real for me. If everything's too crisp and too clean, it takes me out of the experience. It doesn't.
Or like the frame rate's my version of your problem. So like, you know, if I'm watching something at 24 frames a second, there's something about that frame rate that makes a puppet look like a creature, right? But as
Right.
soon as you turn some sort of like frame blending, like cinema mode on your TV, and it makes everything look like it's a video, that puppet looks like a puppet now, and it takes me out of it.
Yeah.
Certainly,
Well,
there are
think about
things
the
that
movie
work
Dark
with that,
Crystal.
but
If you were watching the movie Dark Crystal today,
you'd have to watch it in 24 frames a second. You could not watch it like in 60 frames a second because they would just look like a bunch of puppets. You know?
yeah, they would look like a lot of puppets on marionette strings. Even the movie Alien, I think holds
Literally
up
a
only
puppet on
because
marionette
of
strings.
Ridley Scott being able to play with shadow as much as he did. But I mean, think about how dark that movie was. Now, we're not just talking about the very reminiscent of like Space Odyssey when it opens up and it's got the long panning frames and all that sort of stuff. Beautiful work. But when you start introducing the monstrous aspect of the movie or a lot of the more sci-fi mind-blowing shots, there's a lot of shadow work. And I think Ridley Scott was amazing at that because no matter what frame rate you're going to put that in, I think it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, I still need grains.
With the 4K thing, like, you know, filmmakers have to be a lot more careful about, you know, the things in their movies because you can see everything. You see every little hair on someone's chin.
Right.
So everything has to be perfect. But with regards to resolution, see, I have a 4K TV, but I don't run it in 4K. And here's why.
Choice?
If you,
You have a choice. You can put it in like low resolution mode.
Yeah, you can run in 1080p, and is what I do. And the reason why is due to my low power PC. But there is a negligible difference. If you have a 4K TV, you have like a lot of pixels. This would not be true if you had a 1080p. And so you can run a 1080p image on a 4K TV. And in my opinion, if you're like more than 4 feet away from your TV, you can't tell the difference between 1080p signal and a 4K signal on a 4K TV. And
what
so
do you
like,
think, Bonnie? Do you like clear shot or do you like a little bit more of a fuzzy nostalgic feel?
you know, like if it's shot on film, it's going to have that feel unless it's been like remastered or something anyway. Like if you look at the original Ghostbusters movie, even if it's HD version, like you can see the film grain.
Right.
That's all the HD does. It's like, oh, now I see the grain. So it's all fuzzy anyway because it was shot on film. And it's funny, like in darker shots where they had to use a higher ISO, it's more grainy because it's shot on film. And like modern movies don't have that. It's going to be this pristine, clear video.
Refinished, put to a computer. What do you think?
It starts on a computer. It's not even shot on film anymore. So that's what you're going to get with that. But like, I don't think there's any reason to get an 8K TV ever. 4K TV is fine. I would look at like high dynamic range. So you have deep blacks, bright whites, that would be more of interest to me. Even if you got a 1080p with a incredible dynamic range, it would probably be worth it.
I have to admit that this was my fault. I opened the gateway.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Gateway
I'll
for
just
the
keep
plane.
going. I'll just keep going.
What do you think, Ronnie? Real quick before we cut to commercial, what do you think?
Well, I'm a video gamer, so I always want the highest resolution that's clearer to me, true motion stuff. But when I'm watching movies, I like to see everything. I want to see everything in the highest resolution possible, except for older movies. Older movies, I'm going to see them how they were originally presented. I don't want. Yeah, it's. For example, like I wouldn't want to see like a 8K version of a Kurosawa film. I'm like, I don't need that. I want to see the original grains, the original movie, the way it was supposed to be. Or Batman, the 1989 movie. Now, I will say seeing that remastered was really cool. I actually got to see it with Chuck in the theaters.
Yeah.
Of the 1989 movie. Now that in HD I can understand because like it was like watching the movie for the first time all over again, but it still had the graininess to it though.
I like to be able to choose myself. I think
I'd even like to play a video game where they install the grainy quality into it.
Oh yeah, like I've played.
I have a game for you, Tony.
Oh, you do?
Yes, it's called Ghost of Tsushima.
No.
Oh yes, yes.
Thank you for trying to get me hooked on what you and Caleb are hooked on.
You can play in Kurosawa mode where it is grainy.
And black and white too, right?
Yes. It even has the audio. You can switch it to where it has like the little pops and stuff too, the original movies and everything. It's really cool.
Well, I'm sure we're going to talk a lot about that at some point, but until then, we're going to go ahead and cut to commercial break. Enjoy our commercials. We present them just for you. And don't forget to join us right back here in just a few minutes, and we're going to talk about Saturday morning cartoons. See you in just a minute. Boom! That's right. We're back. This is Turn the Page. Tony Stevens, your personal, friendly neighborhood star power. And I'm being joined again in season 3 with my adorable sidekick, Ronnie Shanks. Say hello, buddy.
Hey, what's up, guys?
And the incredible Ghost Man McClay himself, the sex appeal. Go ahead and give the guys a great big smile, buddy.
Hey.
Well, we're bringing it back to you this season with more fun topics, more reviews, and more news. And don't forget to check out our also awesome syndicated representatives over at Saturday Night Gaming. They're presenting the Heavenscape Kickstarter, and that starts September 9th. So don't forget to look that up. We'll share a link with you so you can get attached to it. It's awesome. It's a great tabletop playing experience. That's right. I said experience. You can share it with yourself. You can have multiple personalities and roll each character for yourself, or get a group of friends and just have fun with it. Have a blast. They've built it. They've made it great. So enjoy it. And we're going to continue to bring these topics to you each and every single week. And don't forget, next week, we're going to be talking about the Dawn of X. That's right, the continuation of the House of X, Powers of X, that was done by Jonathan Hickman. Guys, I know y'all have to love it. Y'all are going to read up on it. And I've personally been just devouring all that information. So next week, we're going to tell you everything about that and more. So don't forget to tune in with me, Sex Appeal John McClay, and the adorable sidekick Ronnie Shanks every single other week.
Tune in.
Hey, we're back. It seemed like only a second ago that I was talking to you about all sorts of news and fun stuff, but now we're back to talk to you about Saturday morning cartoons. It's almost as archaic as the dinosaur because kids don't run off this system of waking up early on Saturdays anymore, because they don't have to worry about syndicated show blocks. But let's go ahead and talk about some of that. I'll go ahead and start this. Ronnie, what was your favorite Saturday morning cartoon when you were growing
man, that's like asking what is the question of life, dude. You can't just like
It's
open it
funny.
up. What was your favorite cartoon?
The answer
Good
is
Lord. Yes, that's my answer. Yes. Uh, no. I can give you my top five.
okay. Top five.
So my top five, in no particular. Well, okay, Batman the Animated Series was my favorite, but regardless, if you go to the '80s era, of course, I liked He-Man and the Adventures of Skeletor.
Oh, that's right, because
Uh,
you weren't around for most of the '80s, were you?
no, but my brother was, and that's how I got hooked on all the '80s stuff. Because
Okay.
everything I watched, and the reason I'm a fan of like almost all the things I am is due to him and my mom. But the really big parts of my childhood were G.I. Joe, He-Man, Transformers, X-Men, and I'm not even talking about the '90s X-Men. I'm
Talking
talking about the
about
one
like
Pride
the
of the X-Men.
Pride of the X-Men. Yeah.
I wore that VHS tape out. That in the '60s Marvel Action Hour, where Submariner had his own cartoon and they sang operatic almost in his theme. And then you had the old like Jack Kirby stop motion stuff. Then you had the Spider-Man cartoon and a whole bunch of stuff like that. And again, I'm talking about like the '60s one where he had like great,
Like Spider-Man
clear,
trends with Firestar and Iceman.
even older.
Oh,
Yeah, this is the one with like such characters as Dr. Slippery Von Schlick and the Sky Master. I think that was his name. Criminal in the Clouds was the episode. It's my favorite one. I have really fond memories of that. But man, I just love like cartoons, just period. I mean, G.I. Joe, Transformers, all that stuff. And then when you get to the '90s, of course, Batman, Superman, Justice League, the X-Men, Iron Man, Fantastic Four after you get past the first season. Um,
well, the Iron Man show was one of my faves, but you had to get past the first few episodes because they were pushing in that Force Works business at the time. So.
yeah. I didn't like. Also, didn't like their U.S. agent costume they had. That thing looked weird. That was a U.S. agent. I was like, good lord, this man looked like a knockoff of Nemesis Enforcer from G.I. Joe. I was like, come on, man. But
Could have just called it the West Coast Avengers and moved on. But
yeah,
well, John, you were around for the inception of cartoons.
Yeah, I was born well before Saturday morning cartoons were a thing.
So
I
what
did live through it, so I appreciate it.
you live? You were born. You went to Nam. You came home.
Yeah, I was a full-grown man, but Saturday mornings, there's something special about that. I wake up
What
early.
were some of your favorite things to watch when you were coming up?
Well, it wasn't again when I was coming up because I was a full-grown man in the early '80s. Is when I first encountered the Saturday morning
When
block.
they introduced the syndicated Saturday block.
Yeah, and like like Spider-Man, like Amazing Friends, Iceman, and Firestar. I think it was Firestar, was it?
It
yeah.
was.
Yeah, it was her introduction. Like she did not exist in comics at the time. I didn't know any of this at the time, but she later would go on to become a comic book character.
Pretty big deal too. Yeah.
And the DuckTales, what's
Darkwing Duck.
Ninja Turtles, Darkwing Duck. Like there's, Saved by the Bell isn't a cartoon, but it was also a part of that block, and I ended up watching that more than my fair share.
Oh, that was when I turned it
yeah.
off.
I was hooked. I was hooked. I was hooked on. The only time that I knew, when I was a kid, the only time I knew that it was over, like I woke up. Well, generally speaking, I slept on the couch. So every Friday night I'd go to sleep. I'd tune out as soon as Mary Tyler Moore threw her hat in the air because that was Nick at Night. And she'd throw her hat in the air. She made it after all. Okay, I can go to sleep. And I'd wake up early in the morning and fix a big old bowl of cereal, sit in front of the TV. And then that's when they had, G.I. Joes, Transformers,
Yeah, I love all that.
Thundercats, Ninja Turtles. And then as soon as Hulk Hogan showed up, I knew it was over. I was eating cartoons. It was WWE time. Or what was it back then? It was
WWF.
Yeah, WWF. So as soon as he showed up, it was always about Hulk Hogan fighting this guy named Vader at the time. So it was just
Oh
over.
yeah.
We had to go out and do stuff. So that was just the end of my day. And then I had to go outside and pretend to shoot things.
Yeah, it's sad that we don't have that anymore. Kids don't.
Well,
I mean,
I've
this,
actually implemented more than once in my household. See, so I understand that there's Netflix and all this sort of stuff, but I woke up the kids and I told them it's Saturday morning cartoon time. So we had to
awesome.
sit there. You couldn't just binge watch because that's not how Saturday morning cartoons work. You don't get to binge watch. So we went through one episode of the new Transformer series they had for Netflix exclusive.
Oh
We went
yeah, it's
through
good.
one episode of the Thundercats remake that I have on Amazon Prime. And then we also did an episode of, my daughter convinced me to do an episode of Naruto. So we watched an episode of Naruto. And I allowed that into the Saturday morning cartoon block because it's really good. But I just felt like that's quality time you can't replace. You wake them up early. The day begins early. It starts on a happy, fun note. So I think whether the TV channels, because everything's evolved so much, whether they're going to force us into a syndicated block or not, we ourselves should still continue that habit, that nature of
Tradition,
watching.
like start a tradition.
Yeah, that's America. That's
Like instead of
America.
having it like forced upon us, like a tradition forced upon us, like just network television blocks
Right.
where you had to be at a certain place at a certain time to watch the show that everyone's going to watch and be talking about. I think it's nice if like kind of like with watching a show like The Boys, which I've been getting into. It's nice if all our friends watch it together,
Right.
and it's a good tradition to start ourselves.
It gives us
right?
something to talk to each other about and share.
And also we have like the same reason that we no longer have a Saturday morning cartoons anymore is also the reason we're able to have a superhero morning show if we want, or we can have like a show about this or that, and we can like make our own block and make that a tradition for us and our family or our friends. So it's a double-edged sword too.
Well, I think that's a good way to do things. I mean, when I was coming up with Dan, he and I watched a lot of the same shows, and we would talk about it we were little kids, so we didn't just call each other on the phone or anything, or instant message each other or whatever it was that hadn't come out yet. But as soon as I'd go over to his house or he'd come over to my house, and we were playing with all of our new toys and action figures and whatnot. It was like, oh man, were you watching Beast Wars? What's your favorite Beast Wars character? He was on Ketor big time. I was Rat Trap because we're all going to die. And we watched a lot of Reboot with Bob from the internet.
Yeah, I remember that.
Was a really cool show.
I never watched it though. I couldn't get
really
past
good.
the CG at the time. Like I don't know. It did not appeal to me.
Especially by the time that they got to the season where it was like it was about to leave America and they were going to finish it up in Canada or whatnot. But they were in the internet. They had left the mainframe and gone to the internet, and things got really gritty.
Oh, that sounds actually pretty cool. I might go back and revisit that and watch it through like different eyes. One of the shows that I want to mention that I slipped my mind for some reason is actually my favorite show from that era. It was the real Ghostbusters. I have a lot of fond memories of that, and it's a quality show, like for a Saturday morning cartoon show.
No, it was great. And I remember when they actually would use the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man as an ally.
Oh, yeah.
He's
He's actually a
Really?
pretty nice guy. Oh, have you never seen the real Ghostbusters, Ronnie?
I have never watched the cartoon show. No, I missed that one.
Oh my God!
It's great.
Oh, you are missing out. Like I might actually have a bunch of the episodes. There's hundreds of episodes.
Oh, my friend, my really close best friend Kashif, he is a huge Ghostbusters fan, and I already know he owns all of those. So when he watches this, he's probably going to message me and be like, "Dude, what the hell?"
You haven't seen any episode
Definitely
of
check
the
it
real
out. I
Ghostbusters.
mean, it was
Well, I
most
saw
of the
the
action figures and toys and stuff I had were from that.
real
dude, yeah.
Ghostbusters before I saw the movie. Like I was introduced to it prior to the film, and I remember being disappointed when I saw Bill Murray's face. I was like, who's that guy? But no, that's not Peter Venkman.
That's not Venkman.
And of course now, like, I love Bill Murray and I think he's perfect. But at the time, I had some expectations that were not being met.
He should have a lot more hair, and it should be.
Yeah, he should be better looking, like. And
Why did Egon not do this weird thing?
Yeah, Egon did not have blonde hair. Yeah, they were nothing like I thought they would be. In fact, so much so that I didn't even really consider the real Ghostbusters to be Ghostbusters. And I'm using the real, not as in the title.
Right.
There's a whole story about why it's called the real Ghostbusters. They didn't actually have the license for the name Ghostbusters, at least for television distribution. And also, I think I can't remember if the film, I think the film got some pushback, but the studio was backing them, so they're fine. But the cartoon did not have that help, and so like they had to make a compromise, change the name. And then later, I think it might have been the same year that Ghostbusters, or the real Ghostbusters premiered, another cartoon, just the Ghostbusters premiered. And I was also disappointed in that as well.
Now, you might have been a lot older, but did you ever see a show that came out called Extreme Ghostbusters?
Yeah, I was a full grown man during all this.
Oh my gosh!
I was born with a beard. I remember
Ghostbusters,
and same kind of problem, and that was just me with my biases, and I just refused to accept this as Ghostbusters because they weren't my Ghostbusters. And in hindsight, that's probably a mistake.
What, guy in a wheelchair?
Yeah, that turned me off as a kid, and in retrospect, it turned me off as a full-grown man. But in retrospect, I really need to go back and revisit those because they might actually be a lot better than I remember. And also the idea that
I did watch the Extreme Ghostbusters, and I did enjoy it.
Yeah, the idea that I didn't like a character because he was in a wheelchair. I'm actually kind of ashamed of that now. That idea,
Well, you should be more ashamed if you force yourself to like it just because you should feel bad for yourself.
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna, tell people that they should force themselves to like it. But like they should look at it from that perspective, what if I was in a wheelchair and I'm seeing this character for the first time, like somebody that represents me, reflecting back at me, like on screen as a major character. And that would be a big deal, like if I was wheelchair bound and I'm watching all the
Planeteers were in a wheelchair.
Yeah. Or Professor Xavier, that
except for the X-Men where somebody was stuck to a wheelchair.
Yeah, I think it's something that most people don't think about because most people don't have that experience.
Right.
And so they see like a white guy who's a superhero and they imagine themselves as that superhero. But if you're in a wheelchair or there's something about you that is not represented on screen, it's hard for you to Now
I have to say this in contradiction to that, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm crazy, but I personally have had to wear eyeglasses for a very long time.
Yes, you might have noticed that I do.
Yeah, and also as a younger person, I had a lot of teeth problems. I had to have a lot of headgear put on.
I got that. I had the headgear.
Speech impediment classes and all sorts of stuff. Now, when I watched the TV, if somebody had shown up with eyeglasses and braces and a speech impediment, I wouldn't have felt like I was being represented. I would have felt made fun of. I rather wanted to see a person who I wanted to be, not what I was.
That makes sense.
No.
Well, if the guy who showed up with glasses was being made fun of and wasn't like the main character and he was like a side character and typecast as like a dork or the smart guy, then I can see your point. But if he shows up and he's like the main guy and he's a badass, then I could see you're just
point to that Clark Kent Superman.
Yeah.
I didn't want Clark Kent. Clark Kent showed up with glasses. I liked him when he pulled the glasses off and became Superman. It was the ability to shed the things that I didn't like and move into a surreal, almost demigod status.
Is that do you have problems with your eyes now? Or are you wearing contacts or?
No, well, personally, I have a very low prescription now. The only reason I even wear them is because of a slight astigmatism. So anybody that even puts on glasses, whether they have prescription or not, are going to realize it's a very weak prescription that I wear. But I am very attached to wearing them. I catch glare off the lighting whenever I wear them, so I take them off. But other than that, I wear them pretty much 24/7 because it's almost a, I don't know, like a safety blanket in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're there. I feel better when they're there. I feel almost like a naked mole rat when they're not there.
Yeah,
So it's weird.
same.
I don't feel
I
prettier without them. I don't feel cooler without them. I rely upon them, I guess, a lot, which is strange for a person that just said, I wanted to see this person evolve past having these things.
Wearing the Superman shirt, no less.
Wearing a Superman shirt, though.
Well, yeah, you can't wear your glasses now because you got
he had to wear the eyepieces. He was stuck in those, so I kind of like that, but it was glorified. It wasn't like playing, you know. I guess maybe if they had a character show up that was like gonna pilot one of the Voltron lions, but they had to be in the Voltron lion because they couldn't use their legs or they had some sort of a disability, that could be cool. It's just, I never thought about it in the way where I wanted to see somebody suffer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I gotcha.
Me personally.
But like specifically to Voltron, I think that one of them did have eyeglasses.
Yeah, Pidge.
Yeah, Pidge. Of course, he's the short one.
He was the short one, and I don't know if you ever saw the remake that they did, but they actually turned Pidge into a female character. If you haven't seen the Netflix Voltron series, I think it's like 8 seasons now. It's an amazing rendition of Voltron.
Absolutely.
I might check that out because Voltron would be on my list of like one of those shows that I watched in the early 80s.
Oh, yeah. I just got to show you. I mean, Voltron's obviously, he's on the list.
Oh, yeah, he's beautiful.
But Voltron was always a big deal. It was the introduction to at least for us, it was the introduction into like the Super Sentai, giant robot, Japanese revolution that was going on. So, well, I think that's about it for this week. I hope y'all have enjoyed it. And I think that everybody should go ahead and, like we said, go ahead and start a new tradition. Go ahead, wake your kids up. Watch some cartoons with them every Saturday. Eat some Fruit Loops or Cocoa Puffs, whatever you're into, and just have a nice old-fashioned Americana Saturday morning cartoon family time. Remember, your traditions are what you make of them. Your life's what you make of it. So focus on being like Bill and Ted and making a positive impact on the world, having some silly, goofy fun. And until next time, this is my crew at Turn the Page, John McClay and Ronnie Shanks. Thank you for joining me again. And I am Tony Stevens signing off. And until next time, keep on keeping on.